beautiful people.
Hey, Isa, Quinones, Ivory.
Hey,
I'm
girl.
so
Not my
I,
full government.
I know because I'm just so happy to be here. I gotta make it like very clear.
I know.
Okay.
I know. You know what's funny? That
What?
man threatened the fuck out that we last
She
season.
definitely did, and we definitely just played in her face because we getting our asses. But you know what though?
We couldn't
I feel
control it.
like we couldn't control it, but I feel like considering what's happening right now, I think that has redeemed us.
Timing was right. Timing was right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Hey, beautiful people. Welcome back to the Good Up motherfucking podcast for the 10th motherfucking season.
Like,
Period.
first of all, who are these girls? Like, who are we? Who are
I
these
know.
people? Who do we think we are? 10
I don't know.
seasons. 10?
I
What?
don't know.
That's
I don't know, but all
crazy.
I saying is your fave don't have the. I'm just playing. Your
And
fave probably does because my fave is the read and they have more than 10 seasons.
okay. Well, let's address the elephant in the room.
Mhm.
Let's just address it, right? You guys are used to me having well, first of all, a much different space. This is nice,
Mhm.
right? This is nice.
Mhm.
I'm obviously not in my normal recording space, my
Nope.
my office that I used to have, because I'm not even in that apartment. I'm also not in that city, certainly not in that state.
Exactly. Bitches
So
have new zip codes.
I have a whole new
Okay.
zip code, honey. I got a whole new everything. Like the girlie has moved. It was very unplanned. But one thing I'm gonna do is do what I gotta do for my family.
Exactly.
And that thing
And
that I
it
had to do
was,
was
I think it was the exact right timing. I think you were meant to be in a different place right now. So we love to
Mhm.
see it.
We do.
Okay.
Because y'all are not used to me being interrupted while recording, but I'm like I said, I'm in a different setting. I'm actually recording at Diamond's place
Mm-hmm.
because I now live in the same city as my sissy. I'm so excited. But
I
yeah,
love
like you
it.
said, it's the best thing. The timing actually was so like impeccably spot on, like perfection.
Mm-hmm.
Because the things we have to look forward to for this season, I feel like this season, it's obviously our 10th season, but this is season one of the next level of the Good Up Pod. That makes sense.
Yeah. This is the Good Up Renaissance, bitches.
Period. It's effortless. It's natural. We didn't even plan our outfits.
And if you can't see it, it's because you're in a Patreon and you go
And
fix
if
that
you're not a
fucking problem at patreon.com/.
yeah, you
Good Up
go ahead and do
Podcast.
that right now because our patrons can see for themselves
Mhm.
that we have elevated our aesthetic without even trying. Like we didn't say, "Hey girl, you wear this and I'll wear that," right? We FaceTimed each other for this recording and we both had our fucking hair up in curly
And
poofy
we're in tank
ponytail.
tops.
And wearing tank tops. That's like neutral tone. Like stop fucking playing with me and my sis.
Yeah. Let me just also say that we don't come back every season and tell y'all like the breaks are always needed and it's always for the right amount of time. I don't know what kind of divine intervention is going on with a Good Up podcast, but every time we end a season and it takes long to come back, it's usually because like we genuinely needed to not be recording at the time. Deidre was in the
Facts.
process of moving. I was in the process of applying for a new job and going through the fucking gigs. Did I get the job? No, but bitches needed time to process that information. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I could not be my best good up self on this podcast over the past couple of months. Also, I
Yeah.
needed to go get some rest and respite. A lot of you saw me in
Yeah.
St. Croix throwing ass, and
Can I
that's what was
just
needed.
say, you in St. Croix was so therapeutic for me.
It was, I'm glad
Because
it
you
was
know
therapeutic for you.
that was
'Cause
while
it
my
was,
life was falling apart. So it was so nice to open up my phone and see you like on the beach.
oh, yeah.
And just see, it was just so I'm like, oh my God, look at my sis.
And
Like
I was
it
on
was
the
just
beach
nice.
every fucking day.
Hey, I saw
Every
FaceTime me
day.
from the beach one day and it just made me so happy. And I was
Can we
like,
talk about that though? Can we talk about
girl,
the fact that on the first day of the year, the first
yep.
person that I called was Deidre. And I was like, I am on the beach in the water. I'm manifesting for the rest of the year. Let's talk about this fucking podcast. And we
Yep.
sat there and what did we say? We said every opportunity, every sponsorship, every possible like level
Yep.
up for Good Up is coming this year. And
Baby, the time wasn't even wasted. Like
period.
it was people calling me like, hey, what's the process to become
Mm-hmm.
one of y'all sponsors? It was us getting emails. It was hey, Isa getting text messages. It
Mm-hmm.
was
Mm-hmm.
it was sponsors that have decided to be the baddest sponsor to ever sponsor.
Exactly. The baddest sponsor to ever sponsor. I love it. And speaking of sponsors, we're so excited to announce that we have a title sponsor for the Good Up podcast. This is the Good Up Renaissance. We upgrading, okay? We're better
Girl.
shit. You may have heard a tag at the beginning of the episode, and that is from our title sponsor. So shout out to you. Thank you so much for supporting our show, for believing in us. We have some exciting shit coming this year. I'm not going to say what it is yet, but just know
Yeah.
y'all have been asking for it for a long time. You're gonna get it
It's
this
coming.
year.
It's
coming in
coming. Get your
2024.
ducats in a row.
Get your motherfucking ducats
Don't play in my
in a row.
face. Okay, we got things to do and we're doing it with y'all. So
Yeah.
stay tuned.
And shout out to our other sponsors as well. We have some season sponsors this season. You're going to hear some ads from them. And let me just say, y'all going to hear some ads this season.
Baby,
okay?
listen, this season, we're very intentional and we always want our sponsors to be reflective of what our values are.
Mhm.
And I think that's why I'm so happy with our sponsorship. Not because they're sponsoring the podcast, but because of what their individual businesses stand for and what they do for the community. All of these businesses
Exactly.
benefit our community. And I'm just so grateful and proud to be able to speak on these businesses and work with them. So thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to our patrons. Y'all have been sticking with us. Y'all are still here. So thank you. It's good to see your faces again.
It's good to see your face here.
I know, it's so good to like I wake up this morning, I like get ready like it was the first day of school. I was so excited to get started with recording again.
Girl, same.
And again, we have a lot to celebrate. It's our 10th season. We are going to hit our 100th episode this season as well. So we'll let you know when that is.
What?
Yeah, we have so much to look forward to. We actually we weren't recording when we turned 4. So we just celebrated our 4th birthday in December. Yeah, we just there's a lot to be excited about and to celebrate for, but I think the biggest thing is that there is a person listening to my voice either in a car or on a phone right now.
Yes.
So the listeners, y'all know, as much as we gonna celebrate sponsors and patrons and all the things, this show would not be a motherfucking thing without
y'all.
without
Legit.
you.
Literally. Like the reason why this show continues to grow is because y'all actually want to hear it.
Mhm.
And it's one thing to say y'all want to hear it, but y'all be tuning in. I'll be seeing the DMs. Y'all been dragging us.
I
We're
ain't
back.
threatening we.
And listen,
So
this I think we have to actually cement it that this will be the last time we do such a long hiatus.
we just said that every season, so I don't want to.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. Because we'd be saying, "Oh, we're never gonna do this again," and then the following hiatus is even longer. So,
And it's just the reality of what it is. Deidre and I are on 2 different ends of the country, basically.
Yeah.
And coming together to make this show happen is always going to be a heavy lift. So when we take a break, we take a break. When we come back, we come back. I'm not going to promise y'all that the next break gonna be shot because we don't fucking
you're right.
know, okay?
You're right here, Isa. That's
We
why
hear
here
what we
Isa's
hear.
here. Yeah, it's true. We're here when we're here, and the beauty is when we're here, baby, we are fucking here. And we ain't going.
Exactly. Y'all are
So,
getting
yeah.
hella episodes from us this season. So
Yeah.
with
Okay,
that,
you're
we're gonna
right.
go ahead and start off the show. We added some new segments into the season. The first one, this one, Deidre's Instagram followers knew this was coming from a couple of weeks back. So the
Yeah.
segment is called The Hill We're Dying On. Deidre, would you like to tell the audience why have we added this segment? What is the mentality behind The Hill We're Dying On?
Okay, first of all, shout out to my undiagnosed ADHD because there's a good chance I have undiagnosed ADHD. I don't even remember. However, I do remember being in the car, something irritated me. I went on a rant, and it was something kind of like not that big a deal, but for me it was, and I just remember ending my rant with, and I insist on dying on this hill, and then I was like, shit. That sounds like a good segment for the podcast. So maybe I'll go back in my archives, and by the time this episode is published, I'll be able to chat with y'all in my stories about why this segment exists. But for those of you who follow, because I remember I got a lot of engagement in that story, and the girlies were like, absolutely do it. So yeah.
I mean,
just
it's
gonna have
kind of
this
in the same vein as Who Gonna Beat My Ass,
who's
because
gonna beat my ass?
sometimes
Yes.
you just have an opinion. Sometimes you have feelings about something, and people try to change your mind, and you're like, no, this hill has Wi-Fi and a nice fucking view, bitch, and I plan to die on it.
Yeah, and I am gonna go back and rewatch the story. I'm sure it's still in my archive. It wasn't that long ago. But it was worth the segment. And I think we could even take it a step further. And if there's a week where we don't have a hill to die on, maybe we can get, submissions from the audience.
Mhm.
Like you guys DM us the hills that you're gonna die on, and we can read them on the show sometimes. Do I have a hill that I'm gonna die on this week? Because baby, I'm the most relaxed I've been in a very long time. And so I really don't have much to be kind of wound up about.
Yeah.
Which
I
I'm
relax,
fine
but
with.
I'm also an Aries, so deep down I'm always pissed off.
And I fucking love that for you because I need more of that for me. The last 2 months or 2.5 months, I've been the most stressed I've been in a very long time. And I looked it. I looked
Mhm.
gray. My skin looked crazy. And so if there's any hill I'm gonna die on this week, it is that what you're going through reflects. So take care of yourself. You got one
Mhm.
body. And even
Period.
when you're hydrating and eating properly, if you have stress, if there's something in your life that's truly stressing you out down to the ground, baby, it's gonna show. No matter how much working out I did, how much water I was drinking, no matter what, baby, it was showing in my skin. Like my skin looked great. That shit was crazy. Like I remember um being on the phone with Cleo, like, yo, as soon as I get to Atlanta, I need a fucking facial because I don't know what the fuck is going on with my skin.
Stress,
I was losing my shit. And
your
then I
body
got
will
to
always
Atlanta.
tell you. Your body
Your
is always
body,
going to tell you.
yeah. So the hill that I'm literally going to cement my feet into the ground. Stress is not worth none of this shit. If you got things going on in your life that's stressful, baby, start doing whatever you have to do, reach out for help, whatever it takes to try to reduce whatever's causing stress in your life, because that shit that be sucking the life out of you. Baby, I looked
Mhm.
like a motherfucking corpse. Okay. I thought it was just the winter and the fact that because I was going through so much, I thought I was neglecting my skincare routine. But I wasn't. I was still doing the same shit that I always do. Literally within 24 hours of being in Atlanta, my skin started to look vibrant again. I was like,
Yeah.
so all that to say, take care of yourself, listen to your body. Whatever in your life is causing you stress, if it's that nigga, if it's that job, if it's all of the above, if it's the
Especially if it's a
motherfucking,
man.
if it's
Don't
first of
piss
all, if
me
it's a
off.
man,
Don't
if
piss
it's
me
a
off.
man, fuck you and that man. Because in 2024, there's no reason for anybody, man, woman, or child, to have a man stressing them out.
And this is coming from a married woman. Don't fucking piss me off,
Okay.
please.
And let me tell you all about her. She's happily married, y'all. Me and
Mhm.
Hairs, I was on FaceTime. I don't know, yesterday. Sometime me and Hairs, I
Yesterday.
was very recently on FaceTime. And she and her man, they like each other bad. Listen, we were on FaceTime, right? And he came in the room to see her and he just looked so happy to see her. It's like, wait, maybe you do want a man. Because that was just so cute. He had looked
But let
so
me
happy
tell
to
you
see she.
something. The minute that changes, okay.
I'm gonna be right there packing her shit. I'm packing his shit. Steven, your things are on the curb. Okay, but anyway, that's the hill I'm finna die on. Anything in your life that's causing you stress, baby, do whatever you got to do to get that shit up out of your life. And if you
Period.
don't know what you got to do, then
Call
that's the
me.
start. Start coming up with a
Don't
solution.
call me, actually text me because I don't like phone calls. But DM me or some fuck. I'll tell you
Yeah.
the truth.
Anyway, that's my hill. What's yours?
So I have two. The first one is, so today is Super Bowl day, the day that we're recording. And in the past, because I have culture, every time there was a Super Bowl show or an award show and there was like a surprise guest, we actually wouldn't fucking know until the guest got on stage and we would be gagged, okay?
Yeah.
Gagged. For
Yeah.
example, there was a BET Awards, I will never forget it, where there was a tribute to James Brown and Michael Jackson came out on fucking stage,
Oh
okay,
yeah.
in
And
the
the
middle of
girlies
that
lost
watch
their
show,
fucking shit.
lost their
Yeah.
minds. When Beyonce performed at the Super Bowl, there was a Destiny's Child reunion. We
Girl,
lost our
we
minds.
lost our minds. And
But
same thing for Coachella. She brought them out for
exactly.
Coachella as well. And we
And
also
nobody
lost our
knew.
shit. Yeah.
Nobody expected it. Or even if there were rumblings, we didn't know. This Usher show that's happening today, I'm very excited because I am an Usher fan. Okay,
Oh
that
yeah,
man could
we
do,
love Usher.
there's wrong that he could do in my eyes, but
I was
musically,
about to
no.
say, hey, Isaac, calm down.
No, I love his entire discography. Like musically, the man is a genius.
Yeah.
Why am I seeing all these articles about these supposed surprise guests that are coming out? And it, like, why can't I be fucking surprised? Why do
Yeah.
y'all have to tweet everything and make a news article out of everything? Like, I just feel like there's no element of like surprise anymore. Every time a movie's
Mm.
coming out, we gain sneak peeks from the set of the movie. Every time Beyonce doing something, y'all want to videotape she coming down the street. Like,
Yeah, she couldn't even enjoy her fried chicken in peace.
y'all are, everything is not meant to be content the minute it comes. Like, I want some surprises.
I know, I know.
Fuck. That's my hill. That's the first one. The
That's a
second
good
one
hill.
is
I'm coming to
that
join you.
that
I'll
lady
bring
with
the.
a banjo and the red lipstick is not the fucking musical genius y'all claim her to be, and I sick of your shit.
Wait. Are you talking about what's this one? Taylor Swift?
Travis Kelsey girlfriend, yeah.
Oh, yeah, she's not though.
She's just not. And I'm so tired of y'all propping her up to be this like monumental icon and making history and she gained all these Grammys. I want y'all to recognize that she is being propped up the way she is because she is the haired, blue-eyed epitome of what white America wants their like darling to be. And
Yeah.
y'all keep putting her in conversations with Beyonce, and I want y'all to know right fucking now.
It
You are losing your
really
minds.
irritates me. You
You
know,
are
I
losing your
saw
minds.
Jasmine's Garden had she did like a one of her, those
That's
fast
my
speaking
bitch.
videos. I love her. I'm obsessed. She's so gorgeous.
Love
Anyway,
her.
so excuse me. She did a video breaking down like the reality is Taylor Swift is propped up the way she is because she represents a large demographic of white women and they
Yeah.
see themselves in her.
Yeah.
And so that's why she continues to have a fan base. And I gotta say, I've never been in proximity to Swifties until my last few months living in Jersey because I worked around a lot of white women. And baby, they are obsessed with that lady. Like
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
they call her mother. They are obsessed. And I
And
have,
if that's your girl, that's your girl. I feel
yeah,
similarly about
but
Beyonce, but
yeah,
Beyonce
but
have the track record for me to feel
Beyonce,
that way
yeah, and
about.
that's been my thing. And what I will sometimes, and this is why I kind of I back off because I don't the Swifties aren't, and I'm not speaking about all the Swifties, but I've encountered Swifties that are not delusional. And when
Hmm.
I say that, I mean whenever I say because their first question is, "Well, girl, why you don't fuck with Taylor?" Like I don't dislike her. I just don't resonate with her music. And they're like, that's valid. Like, not everything is for everybody. So I love when they hit me with that response. And then when they ask me, well, why don't you resonate with her music? I love that they ask these follow-up questions. Like the Swifties that I've engaged with the last few months, they've been like, okay, so why don't you resonate with her music? And I said, well, honestly, for me, she still sounds like a 17-year-old girl
Her
singing about
music hasn't
17-year-old
grown
girl
with
things.
her.
Yeah. And so I was
It
like, it's
hasn't.
hard. Yeah. So I tell them, like, it's hard for me to resonate with her music because I feel like I'm still listening to a 17-year-old who's pining over a dude who's got a prettier girlfriend. And they're like, you know what? That's valid. They're like, I can see how it doesn't sound like her music has evolved. But one Swiftie in particular, she was like, you know what? That's true. And then she said, there are some songs though, because I'm gonna just be honest with y'all. There's two Taylor Swift songs that have me like this
Oh
in a
yeah.
chokehold.
Oh yeah.
Style. The first time I heard Style, I was like, "Oh, this is a motherfucking song." I
Hmm.
love Style, and Anti-Hero. You see
Listen,
how far apart
I
those songs are though in their release? They're really far apart. But those two songs
yeah.
are those two Taylor Swift songs I go hard for. So even the Swiftie that I was engaging with, where I was like, yeah, the music just doesn't really sound like it's evolved. She was like, that's valid. I get that. And then I told her about my two favorite Taylor Swift songs. She said, well, you know what? If you like those two songs, and your reason for not really liking her is because you don't see much evolution, there are some songs that you're gonna go up for. She told me about some album, can't remember, but
It
she
was
played
probably
a.
Cardigan.
I don't think it was Cardigan. I'm gonna text her and ask her because she told me the album name and then she played me two songs on that album. I'm not gonna lie, I liked it. It was easier for me to listen to because it sounded like something that a 30 something should be singing about.
And
But
that's my
her,
thing, Deidre. I don't dislike Taylor Swift's music.
she's just
I
not worth the hype that she hasn't really proven the
that's the
talent.
hill that I'm dying on,
Yeah,
is that
and I'm with
she has
you.
not proven the level of talent for y'all to be having her in these like artists
Categories,
of our lifetime conversations. I'm not saying
absolutely.
the lady isn't talented. When she don't pull her banjo down and pull out her pen, she does produce some
Yeah,
genius music sometimes. Okay, maybe not genius, but nice,
yeah. I feel
nice.
like
Her
Genius
little
is a
H&M bops,
stretch.
I do like them. Okay,
That's
I
what it
went
is.
up.
That's what it is. She's got her music is very H&M-y, and to me, I don't understand why she's being compared to other actual artists. Because I
Yeah.
don't. The reality is, I don't see Taylor Swift as an artist. I see her as somebody who had very
Mhm.
good commercial success. That's
I'm
just
gonna
my.
be honest with y'all. When it comes to her pen and her talent, I would not even put Taylor Swift in the same conversation as SZA. I
Oh,
wouldn't
SZA's a writer,
put
baby
Taylor Swift in
girl.
the same room as Lana Del Rey. I wouldn't put Taylor Swift in the same room as Victoria Monet, who is a much newer, not newer to the industry, but a
Yeah,
much more like she's just now getting her mainstream success. I wouldn't put Taylor Swift in those rooms. So for y'all to put her past all of those artists, and what do those
yeah.
artists have in common? They're Black women.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just I'm not going to go on this rant for too long. We got other things to talk about, but that's
Yeah.
my hill, Deidre. Is
Girl, I'm coming.
y'all
Can I
about
come
to piss
visit?
me
Should I
off?
should I bring my camping chair? The
I'll
one.
put out a little chair for you. We could
Okay.
have some
I'm
snacks.
coming. I'm coming. We're
I'll
gonna
put
live
out my
long on
little
the hill.
hotspot. We could record an episode up here because I'm dying on this hill
I'm coming with
twice.
you. So, well, thank you for that. I'm coming to visit. I think it's going to be a lovely hill with lovely greenery because you have quite
Mm-hmm.
the green thumb. And if you guys want to send us the hill that you want to die on,
Mm-hmm.
DM it to Good Up. What's our Instagram here, Isa?
At Good Up Pod on Instagram, at Good Up Pod on Twitter, and just Good Up on Facebook. You can message
And I'm
us.
gonna say this: I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, and I love engaging with y'all. But don't send it to my personal account, and don't send it to Hey Isa personal
I
account.
don't
Send
be
it
on
to
my
the
Instagram for you.
Yeah, do that. It's gonna be fun. I want to know what hills
Mhm.
y'all gonna die on. Um, I
And
think this is gonna be a fun
even
segment.
if your hill is something you don't think we gonna like, say it.
Send it
Say it.
anyway, because it might be something that teach. One thing I love to do is learn, honey. So we might learn a
Yeah.
lot from the hills that y'all want to die on. And
Some of them hills though, I might cuss I out on a podcast, but that's fine. Send it if you
if
brave.
your hill is misogynistic, if your hill is sexist, if your hill is
Send that fuck.
colorist,
Send it.
send it so we could cuss your mother scunt on this show. Okay?
Send it.
Please send it. Please send it.
We also adding a second segment to this podcast, and it's because I really love to celebrate people, and I feel like I don't get to do that enough sometimes.
Yeah.
So this new segment is called Spotted Being Good Up. So this could be for individuals, this could be for creators, this could be for businesses. Basically, Deidre and I are going to come on here every week and talk about people that we have spotted out in the community, people that we know being good up for whatever fucking reason. You were just
Yes.
being good up. Okay, and
Period.
we want to celebrate that. So my person for today is Dr. Hadiya Suer. She is at the University of the Virgin Islands. Hadiya recently invited us and a number of other panelists to be a part of this event called For the Culture. It was a online Zoom panel, great conversation. But ultimately, I want to thank her and celebrate her because she gathered, when I say a panel of badass
Baby.
PI women.
Listen, I was like, fuck me. Like, it's some badass motherfuckers coming up out of the
Mhm.
Virgin Islands. Like, and shout out
Exactly.
to Dr. Hadiya for even like knowing of the people that were put together for this panel.
Exactly. And I think it stood out to me. I don't know if this was intentional, but the panel was all women, and it meant a lot to me because sometimes when we have conversations about prominent people in the Virgin Islands, people who are doing good things, 9 times out of 10, you don't see a lot of women on those lists, or you don't see women named first. So for her to sort of intentionally have all women on that panel to have that conversation about what we're doing in the media space, and it's women who really are, in my opinion, transforming content coming out of the Virgin Islands, media coming out of the Virgin Islands. Like,
Mhm.
these were heavy hitters, okay? But specifically, I want to celebrate Dr. Hadiya Suer because you're the person who put this together, and you are an amazing woman. And she's also an activist. There's a lot that she's doing on St. John to speak out against and fight back against colonization and colonialism, and basically these white people coming on St. John and acting like that fuck belong to them. So shout out to you, and thank you for everything that you're doing. And just know we spotted you being good up, and you're
You got up
basically our person of
bad.
the week, girl.
Yeah. Thank you, girl. Thank you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
And you got up
You're
bad.
good or bad. You're good or bad.
Hey,
All right. I know I've
girl.
been here this whole time. Are we still ain't start the episode topic yet?
We
So get ready.
y'all been saying y'all want us to come back, baby. We back.
If you follow me on Twitter, you know that I say this a lot, which is you not a girl's girl for real.
Nope.
And I chose to bring this topic forward. Actually, Deidre Diamond and I had been talking about a version of this topic for a long time. It kind of came from the recent debacle between Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion, or if you are a person with common sense, the debacle between Nicki Minaj and herself.
Okay, because that lady been
Because
talking to herself this whole
she's been
time.
talking to herself for weeks. So if you were living on a rock, basically, Megan Thee Stallion came out with a new single. It's going to be on a forthcoming album. The single was called Hiss. She basically ripped everybody a new fucking asshole with this song.
My girl.
And
My
one
girl.
particular lyric in the song. So let me start by saying this. I've listened to the song multiple times. A lot of people are reducing it to being a song about Nicki Minaj when really and truly this song was about every single person who has basically come for Megan Thee Stallion for no
For
reason,
no reason. And that's
disrespected
the
her,
thing. Yeah.
blogs,
That's
fans, male rappers. It was more about the male
it
rappers
was
than
so many.
anybody else.
Can we talk about that? Because I now I don't follow like pop culture very closely. I think I have a very basic level of following pop culture. But I don't think I've ever seen male rappers come for a female rapper the way they
Oh
come for
yeah.
Megan Thee Stallion. I used to
Mhm.
be a barb. I don't remember male rap back when Nicki was really when she first
She
went
was
mainstream and
embraced.
Nicki was heavily embraced by
Hmm.
male rappers. I've never heard male rappers genuinely coming for a female rapper until Megan hit the scene. And what that tells me is that they are genuinely threatened by that girl's talent because
Hmm.
Megan is a motherfucking rapper.
Hmm.
What's the
Yeah.
reason for this? Like,
Well, she laid out all the reasons in the song. She
his
basically
BBL.
said y'all some bitches basically, but she also alluded to the fact that there are probably male rappers out there who wanted her to have sex with them, wanted her to give them more attention than she did. And they upset about that basically. And in this whole Tory Lane situation, they chose to side with Tory, so she said her piece. The song did not have a hook. It was basically just Meg for 2.5 minutes dragging
Hustling
everybody
everybody,
by their
hustling
little fake
everybody.
braids. And there was one line in the song that alluded to Nicki Minaj's husband, who happens to be a registered sex offender. We don't have to go into the details. Um, one lyric, literally one lyric, and it caused this lady to lose her fucking mind and start howling on the internet like a husky. Okay, hit dogs gonna holler, and baby girl is a chihuahua if I've ever seen one.
It was 13 words. I just sat here and counted.
13
It was 13
words
words. 13 words
of
in
a
an
two
entire
and a half minute song.
13 words. I literally sat here and counted the words.
So she basically, again, hit dogs gonna holler. She hollered and made this into this whole thing, released
Yeah.
a ridiculous song afterwards. And if you've been on the internet, you know what happened. But
Yeah, we
this
don't have to
episode
recap it.
is it's not about the beef itself. Where this episode came from is the fact that Nikki has proven herself time and time again to be somebody who is not a girl's girl. Okay.
Yeah.
She was basically the only prominent female rapper in the industry for a really long time. She was at the top of her game. And she has displayed, in my opinion, evidence that as soon as something comes to threaten that position in her head, she loses her fucking mind.
Yeah.
And she starts coming for other women within the same industry. But not even just that, she seems to embrace them at first, so
Mm-hmm.
long as they feed her ego, so long
Yeah.
as they make her feel like she's still number one. And the minute that stops happening, or
Yeah.
they associate themselves with people that she don't like, all of a
All hell breaks
sudden
loose.
she's sick in the barbs on them. She losing her mind. She dragging herself on the floor in her wig in her home. Husband Uncle Manita beeping off in the distance. Like, she losing it. Okay. So
First of all, you're not gonna get me doxxed, okay? Because
if they want dox me, that's fine. I know lawyers. So if I want to play, like, I can't see your IP addresses, please do.
I love that she said
Also,
she
I
know
could fight.
lawyers because same.
Like,
Same.
and Arizona, I believe, is a stand your ground state. So,
Oh,
you know,
yes, honey. Yes,
feel
honey.
free. I want to talk about using her as an example, how
Yeah.
there are women who genuinely do not like other women, and they like to convince themselves that they do, but they
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
And basically, like, what is what is a girl's girl? So I gonna turn it over to you, Deidre. If you could define what a girl's girl is
Yeah.
before we start talking about this, how would you define it?
Simply put, a girl's girl is somebody who identifies or not, but who fully understands what women are up against, understands that they are up against the same exact things, and will forever prioritize the safety, well-being, and like love of us, right? Who sees us as one. A true girl's girl don't see me as me versus her. It's us. Because no matter what you look like as a woman, no matter what demographic, no matter where you come from as a woman, we are all up against legitimate misogyny, right? The white women are up against it, the black ones, the fat ones, the skinny ones, the conventionally attractive ones, we are all up against misogyny. That's number one. So you, in order to be a girl's girl, you have to be willing to fight for women regardless of your differences with those women. I hope that makes sense. As a demographic, we do have subsets, right? There are women who have more privilege than other women. We just have to acknowledge that. But if you're a girl's girl, regardless of those differences, those things that set certain women apart from others, you still bringing all the women together, right?
And it's for me, the highlight of it is that you do not put the interests of men above the interests of women, right?
Exactly.
And I know somebody gonna listen to this and be like, well, what if the man is my husband? What if the man is my brother? Like, there are nuances to this. I'm not expecting you to go outside and prioritize a white woman you see down the street over your literal child or sibling.
Right. And that's why I kept making sure to center and not even bring up men. And that's why I just kept saying being a girl's girl means understanding and recognizing the level of misogyny that the collective of women is up against.
Exactly.
Prioritizing the safety of fellow women, or just anybody who falls prey to misogyny. Because the thing about misogyny is you don't have to be a man to be a misogynist.
Exactly.
Okay? Because guess what? If I'm at a motherfucking bar and I see a group of homegirls hanging out, and I could tell that these bitches is the type of bitches that would set one of their friends up to get harmed by who? Men. Baby, I'm gonna find a way to single out the other friend and be like, girl, watch your back. Them bitches are trying to kill you. Because like, that's a girl's girl.
But and those are some examples. That's actually a really good example of not being a girl's girl. So if you've ever been part of a friend group and your friend group was okay with you gain shit face and they just leave you to your own vices and didn't make sure you got home safely, didn't make sure that the men that are around you for any reason aren't trying to take advantage, they're not girls.
Exactly.
Girls are the women who see drunk women at clubs and be like, are you good?
Are you good?
Let me give you a ride home. Do you need water? Those are the girls.
A girl's girl. Let me give y'all a little example, right? And just like a personal example. When I lived in Jersey, I used to take like public transit because I lived in Jersey City. Like, having a car is dumb in Jersey City, right? I remember getting off the train and there was a dude who was clearly like out of his mind, mentally unwell. And he was at the train station masturbating. And he was purposefully turning toward people and just displaying himself, right? And we would try to get away from him and he would keep kind of following us, right? And so me and this one lady, we were the only two people who got off at the stop. And we were trying to like get away from him. We obviously called the police, but we walked each other as far away from the train as possible. We didn't care what direction anybody was going in. We like locked eyes. I was like, I made my way to her and we just walked next to each other and we stayed with each other until we were far enough away to feel safe and know that this man couldn't attack us. That's a girl's girl, right? It wasn't some, oh, every man for himself. It wasn't, fuck this shit, I gotta get as far away as possible. It was, I'm here, another woman is here, and there's a man here who is potentially dangerous. And thank God it was daytime and it wasn't, because if it was nighttime, baby, yeah, the taser was coming out. But regardless, that's a girl. Like, being a girl's girl means just being ready to protect yourself and other women at all costs, at all times. Because, baby, we are up against some real shit out here.
Exactly. I definitely see that as a great example of being a girl's girl. I think for me, a lot of times on Twitter, there are some conversations like that a day. I don't even know if you're a listener of this podcast, but I called somebody a bird on Twitter because she was being a bird. She wasn't being a girl's girl. Basically, there was a situation where some nudes were leaked by a man. They made their way around and some people started tweeting, basically finding ways to blame the women who had sent the nudes for their nudes being exposed, basically saying like, oh, you gotta be more careful. And granted, yeah, you have to be careful with who you send your nudes to, but at the same time, you shouldn't be leaking people's nudes.
Exactly.
So, somebody tweeted something along the lines of like basically blaming the women. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like if somebody dropped some nudes without people consent and you choose to blame the people who nudes get exposed, you might be a bird. I don't know. So that's, to me, being a girl's girl means that in a situation where you are recognizing that women are being harmed, you are expressing solidarity with those women and you're not finding ways to blame them. You're not finding ways to justify the people who harm them behavior, right? Being a girl's girl is when you're at work and you are trying to advance yourself, you're not stepping on the heads of other women in order to get there. You are bringing
Yes.
them up laterally with you in any way that you can.
Yeah.
Um,
And even
Another
if you're
thing.
not, I'm sorry to cut you off, but
No,
I
you're
want
fine.
to add to that. Even if you're not bringing them up, you're giving them the tools to bring themselves up, right?
Exactly.
Because you may not have the influence to bring them up, but you have something to leave them with so that they can
Mhm.
take that with them so that they can bring themselves up, right? Like
Exactly.
that's all of that is the same. I'm sorry, Carrie.
No, you're fine. I think that's a really good example. And I think kind of tying it back to Nikki, a lot of the examples that we're giving are not examples of the way that she's chosen to behave with the other female rappers who are coming up in the game. She
Yeah.
wants undying loyalty from them. And that's the only way that she's willing to associate herself with them or like prop them up, so long as they're not better than her in her eyes. Because if you
Mm-hmm.
notice, the one rapper that she has stayed sort of loyal to is the one rapper in the industry right now who
Who
couldn't
could
rap
never?
if rap barge in her house and kick she in her fucking face.
Yeah, if rap literally gave her the fucking playbook and said, "This is how to do
This is
me,"
how
she
to
would
rap.
still.
Ice Spice would be like, I have no idea what's going on. I'm just cute and I have a nice banner. Like
Ice Spice is really cute, but
she's
that motherfucker
adorable. She's
can
a
rap
beautiful girl,
in a
beautiful
bag of
gowns, but I
Barbie.
wish she would have chosen to like be a tax attorney instead or something because rap is not her ministry.
It's not for her, and I don't understand. Like, where did the success come from? Because how?
And listen, a lot of time you're gonna listen to this and you're gonna be like, well, hey, Isaac, you talking about being a girl's girl, but you talking shit about Taylor Swift. You talking about being a girl's girl, but you talking shit about Ice Spice. If Taylor Swift or Ice Spice were in danger, or if a man were coming for them, I would probably drag the man first, and then I would pull them in a corner and be like, but he was absolutely right. They shouldn't
But here's the thing,
be.
right? Because we're not dragging Taylor Swift. We're
Yeah,
criticizing the
you.
level of success that she has
Yeah.
as an artist. That's number one. Number
Hmm.
two, when I go on TikTok and I see video clips of random comedians who I've never seen before hosting shows and they're punching down and trying to slut shame Taylor Swift or trying to that shit pisses me off,
Hmm.
right? I
Yeah.
cannot be a fan of her music and feel like she's overrated
Yeah.
and still be like, why the fuck won't people leave her alone? Because I really resent that people still try to come for Taylor Swift's dating history. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Two things could be true at once. So
Exactly.
and guess
Exactly.
what? That makes us girls. Okay.
No, exactly. That I think that's the point to draw is that sometimes you will meet women that you don't take to them. You don't like them. You will have women in your life who you just like, okay, I'm not about to go above and beyond for this person. But what I would imagine is if that person were in harm's way, you would still choose to try to protect that person. Like that is
Absolutely.
being a girl's girl. Another
Mm-hmm.
part of it, because I have had so many friendships in my life where it turned out that the women that I was friends with were not girls. I
Yeah.
think another example of that is when you are in a situation where like let's say you both like somebody you or just there's a man in proximity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Typically the women who you will see that aren't girls are trying to put themselves forward to be more attractive or more desirable than everybody else who is in this, like the other
Right.
women who are in the same vicinity.
Girl, just say what you want to say. The pick
The
me's.
pick me, yeah. A pick me is basically the word wasn't coming to mind.
Okay, I'm like, girl,
Um,
pick me.
a
Don't be
pick me is
modest.
basically like the antithesis of a girl's girl. Like a pick
Mm-hmm.
me is going to try to make themselves more desirable by appeasing to misogyny. They're
Yep.
going to say, "Oh, I really don't like females. Girls are, they dumb. They ain't as cool to hang with as men. Like you're
Yeah,
not a
I don't
girl's
get
girl."
along with other girls. Women are just so catty. Let me tell you, the minute
I
I
have a
hear a
man's
woman,
mentality and I'm just less emotional and I'm more
yeah,
hard. So I don't really hang with girls because girls too stupid. Like you
yeah,
are a girl,
yeah,
dingbat.
and you're being exactly what you claim you don't like. Because
Exactly.
I'm sorry if if you feel if you've encountered so many women and every time you've encountered women it's been that, baby, let's just do some basic math and let's try to figure out who the common denominator is.
If it looks like a bird and it tweets like a bird,
Tweet, tweet.
it's a bird.
Baby, it's a bird. Listen, I like birds, okay? I think they're very exotic. I think they're beautiful. I think birds are just something special.
I
And I
love them.
feel like in another life, I'll probably be like an eagle or a
A
flamingo,
hawk.
a hawk. Listen, but baby girl, if you have never been able to have a friendship with another woman or another girl or well, female, as y'all like to say, baby, the it's
The
you.
problem is you. You
It's
are the
you.
problem.
Hi, you're the problem. It's you.
Yeah, because I'm sorry, you need women in your life. You need solidarity from women
Yes.
in your life. And I will say I was that person when I was a teenager.
Hmm.
Keyword, I was a teenager. I grew
Oh.
up in the 2000s, and around that time it was much cooler to say certain misogynistic things that we now have unlearned and we now know just aren't the right
Yeah,
way to talk about
absolutely.
women. But I was definitely one of those girls who was just like, oh, I'm one of the guys and I'm da 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 and I'm this and I'm that. And I don't really like, I don't fuck with pink. I don't do this. I don't do that. Like, really trying to differentiate myself from other women. And the sole purpose of it was so that boys would find me more desirable. And
Mm,
I did not prioritize my friendships with women. And I will say around that time, I was also friends with women who were almost exactly the same. And
mm,
lo and behold, when it came time to prioritize either the safety of their friends versus the desirability that they find in another man, they chose the man.
yeah.
So I'm just saying, when it comes to not being a girl's girl, the whole point of this entire conversation is that you are going to sacrifice those friendships and those bonds that you could have with women who fully
Yeah.
understand what it's like to be you in
Hmm.
order to place yourself higher on the ranking for a man who may not even truly fully appreciate
Who don't give a
who,
damn
yeah.
about you? Let's just say it because as you were saying that, because
Mm-hmm.
I love that you are able to be honest and say, part of that was wanting to be like seen as
Yeah.
desirable by these dudes, right? And the irony is the very men, the very boys that you were trying to be desirable to, they don't give a damn about women. They want to be desirable to their friends. And in their mind, they're not trying to be
Mm-hmm.
desirable, but most of the time, men, who men are seeking the approval of? Other men.
Yeah.
Generally, men do everything to be noticed by other men, to even if they're competing with other men, everything they do is for other men. When you really think about it, they want to be seen as stronger than the next because they're always competing with each other. And even when they're
Mm-hmm.
not competing with each other, they care about what their friends think. They want, you know what I mean? So the
Mm-hmm.
girls are over here trying to be cool for the guys, and the guys trying to be cool for the guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like that,
No,
especially
honestly.
teenage boys, like they would much rather be on the basketball court, whatever they do, whatever they're
And
interested in.
And the lesson that I learned too is that it didn't matter how much I tried to make myself different from other girls or tried to like other myself from other girls. They like what they like. Boys like what they like. And
That's
it
true.
didn't matter
That's very
how
true.
like feminine I was, how masculine they didn't give a fuck. At the end of the day, they were attracted to what they were attracted to. And I
Hmm.
had this belief in my head of like, oh, I can't associate myself with I don't really hang with girls. And a lot of that is just internalized misogyny. It's
Yeah.
believing that there's something inherently wrong with being a woman, with being
Mm,
feminine, and feeling like you have to separate yourself from it. And I
yeah.
see women even now in 2024 trying to do that same thing, trying to
Yeah.
be that. And I'm just like, at what cost?
At
Like,
what cost? Yeah.
at the end of the day, people experiencing, like, women are literally being murdered. Women
Yep.
are being assaulted. Women are being treated like shit
Yeah.
for just being women. And you out here saying, like, well, if you just respect yourself, like,
If
bitch,
you just stop showing your shoulders,
right. If you
maybe he
just,
wouldn't be tempted.
well, maybe if Megan didn't drink, like, what?
Yo, the explosive argument that I got into with my mother behind, okay, let me pivot real quick, right? Because I've observed the women that I know personally who were pick me's at some point, and let's be clear, I feel like all of us in this generation were raised to be pick me's, and it was up to us to recognize when, like, does that make sense? Because we all had a pick me era, right? I don't remember ever wanting to do things to impress guys. I've never found men or boys or anything that boys cared about to be interesting in any way. Um doesn't mean I've never had like a crush on boys or whatever, but I never felt the need to make myself a certain way to be, you
Mm-hmm.
know, interesting to boys. But I remember a lot of the things my mom would try to coach me on would be to be desirable to men so that I could be a good wife one day. And I remember being like, I guess, like, I just remember
Like,
me
bitch,
and my dad were just talking
okay.
about this the other day because I'm like, I get, like, it just didn't make sense to me. It never added up in my brain. Like, I just always kind of was like, I don't know if men are, if they're even looking that closely at that. So I said all that to say, a good chunk, majority of women who are pick me's, I think part of it comes from their conditioning, right? They're probably raised by a pick me, or they're raised by somebody who was the like not a pick me, who was a true girl's girl, and they kind of saw a flaw in that, and because of that they really embrace like their pick me nature, if that makes sense. It's just like
Yeah, they have it in their head that the affection of a man is the thing that's going to fix all of their problems. It is the thing that is going
yeah,
to signify that they have made it in life. And as somebody who, like Deidre was saying earlier, has the affection of a man, like they're I love my husband Dong, but there's more to life. Like you have to be happy with
yeah,
yourself. You have to be happy
mm-hmm,
with your life. And women who
yeah,
center men in the way that pick me's do,
mm-hmm,
it comes at a cost to your friendships with other women. It comes at a cost to your self-respect. Like
yep,
if you and the key word here is centering. You can love men. You can have men in your
yeah,
life. You can prioritize the relationships that you have in your life with men. But if you do that at a cost to everything else, at a cost
mm-hmm,
to solidarity with other women, you're gonna find yourself spouting bullshit, like trying to justify when women are harmed, trying to like
yeah,
you're gonna find
wondering
yourself
what she was wearing and
exactly.
things like that.
You're not a girl's
um
girl for real.
For real.
You
That's
just
another thing. I remember my mom kind of, okay, I remember when Kobe Bryant was in the news for allegedly assaulting someone. I don't know if, I don't, y'all know I don't follow the pop culture. So maybe he was,
no, he was.
uh,
This was
he
years.
definitely did. We
Yeah.
were children when this happened. But I
Hmm.
remember when that was like in the news and stuff. And I remember my mom using that as a teachable moment to tell us, like, hey, when you're at the age where you're like dating and involved, make sure you don't like lead men on, basically. Like,
Mm.
make sure you're not, if you don't start something, you're not willing to finish, kind of. She didn't use that exact language,
Yeah.
but that's kind of the gist of the lesson she was trying to teach us is don't be making out and then change your mind, or don't say you want to do it and then change your mind after. Because, and I remember I think I had to be somewhere between 10 and 12 during this lesson.
Hmm.
And I remember being like, but why can't I change my mind? Like, what if I really did think I
Right.
wanted to, but then kind of realized I didn't want to? Like, what's wrong with that? She and again, it's like internalized misogyny. It's what she was taught.
Hmm.
It's a survival, instinct, because when you're working from a more survival part of your brain, you're not going to really think broader. It was very much like, well, men don't have much self-control, so once they get started, they can't stop. Da, da, da. And I just remember being like,
Which is a
oh,
lie, by the way. If
it's
if
a
anyone
fucking
under the
lie.
age of
Please
18
don't.
is listening to
Yeah.
this, like they could
So,
stop.
yeah, I don't know where my mother stands with that now.
Blue
So I'm
balls
like,
is not a terminal
that's not a
illness.
thing. So, I don't know where my mom stands on that now. But what I will say is, again, I was a kid, and that's the other thing, right? Because as a child, who knows more, me or my mom? As
Hmm.
a child, you're trusting that the adult who's guiding you knows more. So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, like it still didn't make sense to me. I
Hmm.
remember in the back of my mind being like, okay, and so it was like, that's a lot of people hold on to those old ways of thinking, right? I'm
Hmm.
sure this is what she was taught. She might also be speaking from experience, but even people who refuse to hold men accountable,
Hmm.
right? Because what you're pretty much telling me is that boys and men are animals who have no self-control and cannot be trusted, right? So don't even, I shouldn't say that, but that's essentially the gist of it. If
Hmm.
you start making out with him and you change your mind, he's not going to be able to stop. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
But it's that like misogynistic advice that prioritizes the well-being
the
of men and sort of make
Exactly,
sure
because
that
then
they
it
get what they
positions
want.
exactly. So it's like, hey, if you're gonna give them something, you have to fully give it to them.
Hmm.
And I know that when she was giving that message, it was coming from a place of protecting us. I know that my mom didn't mean any harm in what she was sharing. That's what she knew. That was her ideology. Like, she was doing the best she could with what she had, right?
Hmm.
And that's what she was taught. And again, she may be speaking from experience, right? Regardless, that message, it protected us to an extent, right? Because yeah, it put it our head to protect ourselves by not, don't open a door you ain't ready to fully go into, right?
Hmm.
But it also protected men because
Hmm.
what it did was it put in our head that if by chance we start and we change our minds, whatever happens to us is our fault.
Right.
So
Right.
luckily, I've never been in a position like that where I had to take that lesson. But I
Hmm.
remember being that kid and being like, that don't feel right. I don't think that's right.
Yeah.
And of course, as I grew up, I realized that's definitely not right.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that because I have a son. And so my job now as his mother, as a person who's responsible for him, is to teach him consent
Hmm.
and to teach him that if you are making out with somebody and they change their mind, baby, you got to stop. The answer is no.
Right.
And vice versa. If you
And you'll
change
be
your
fine.
mind, yeah, and if and you will be fine. And maybe they'll want to another time, and maybe they won't. Regardless, there's plenty of other fish in the sea. Further to that, you also have a right to say no because I
Hmm.
think that's also the missing link when it comes to conversations regarding consent. Boys are over sexualized. Boys are expected to be ready to perform. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So that's not the conversation. We're talking about being a girl's girl. So bye, guys. Back to the girl.
No, but I mean, all of that again, like all of that ties in. There are people who are going to listen to this episode and realize that your mom is not a girl's girl. There are people who are going to listen to this and realize your childhood best friend wasn't a girl's girl. Like,
That was my point. Is
yeah,
basically that we were raised by a lot of pick me's.
yeah. I
We're
mean,
girls, girls.
and it's no shade to them because they were raised by pick-me's too. Like, there are people who, or that's just the way that society was structured. Again, was to prioritize men at all costs. And what we're seeing now is that type of like ideology and language start to come back forward where women are seeing, like, we have video evidence of other women being harmed. We have evidence of other women being like put in these like extremely fucked up situations with
Yeah.
men. And there are women who still come out and are like, yeah, but even beyond that, if you're a TikTok user, you have without a doubt probably seen a story of like a girl coming on and talking about like her beef with her friend or like exposing her friend business and doing all of this stuff. Like, basically it's that lack of solidarity. It's that like
Mm-hmm.
I am going to put my self-interest first before the women around me because I want to be seen as more desirable.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
And
Let me,
and the opposite of that to me is women who, although it's clear they like men, although it's clear that, yeah, sure, it would be nice to be desired, they are still interested in propping up women. Cardi B
yes.
is a girl's girl.
That's my girl. I like Cardi
She's a girl's
B.
girl.
I like that girl a lot.
Like,
You know Megan is a girl's girl. Don't play.
Megan is a girl's girl.
Megan is a girl's girl.
Victoria Monet is, and I'm naming celebrities because they have that like visibility where you can see how they bring other women up with them. But like,
Hmm.
how many features have we seen Cardi do with up and coming female
Yeah.
rappers, right?
Yo,
And
her
the
and Glorilla.
requirement wasn't loyalty.
Facts.
Because when she did the feature with Lato was still very much like, I love Nicki Minaj, that's one of my favorite rappers. When Cardi did her feature with Meg had done a song with Nicki Minaj. Like,
It's true. It's
the
true.
requirement isn't that you beef with this other person that I don't like in order for me to show you solidarity. She just does it because she knows like I have this prominence in the industry and by featuring with this
Yeah.
person, I can do something for them. Like,
Can
that
we
is being a girl's girl.
facts? I want to broaden this, right? Outside of
Mm-hmm.
the industry, because I do believe, and I could
Mm-hmm.
be reaching here, but I think that generations is a factor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying really hard because the Gen X love beefing with anybody outside of them, right? Gen X love beefing with them. However, I do feel like age and the generation that
Mm-hmm.
you're a part of is a factor. And the reason why I say that is because outside of the entertainment industry, everything that we're seeing going on right now, it happens in everyday life. It happens
Mm-hmm.
in the workforce of those of us working regular jobs,
Mm-hmm. I see it
especially.
at my job.
Hmm. And I cannot speak because at the end of the day, I'm a Black woman. So I can't really speak to what women of other races, especially white women, are going through in this regard. I don't know how older white women treat younger white women. I
Oh,
can
it's
only
about the
speak.
same.
Okay, good to know.
It's about the same.
Because I don't know. And I haven't worked closely enough with like white women across generations to know that older white women are fully like dogging out younger white women. And this is why I'm bringing up race, is because as a Black woman, I found that some of the people who have treated me the worst have been older Black women. And I'm not the first person to say this. I know people who have had the same experiences in the workplace where their biggest up was an older Black woman.
But we wasn't just talking about this on the phone the other day. I'm not going to call names, but we were talking about someone who is either an older millennial or possibly Gen X
Mm-hmm.
who spends a lot of their time on
Oh
social
yeah, yeah,
media
yeah, 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 yeah.
talking younger women.
Dog and younger, which is crazy
Yeah,
to
who
me.
spent time during Carnival basically going to all of the events and talking about people's bodies and basically criticizing how other people are
Right.
dance.
And
And
it's
specifically,
cool.
the slander was for women. It was
Yeah. And
always about other women.
and it's so strange to me, but I've noticed that like older Black women are some of the meanest. And this is even like in my family. I know older Black women who I'm just like, girl, what is the problem? You know what I mean? Like, it's, and I, one, again, because there's a level of like wanting just, it's internalized misogyny, right? In the grand scheme of things, it's internalized misogyny. But I wonder, because at the end of the day, we know that sexism is a factor. And we know that there's some level of competition there, especially let's just keep the workplace in mind, because we're talking about the entertainment industry. In the workplace, I'm not even going to talk about on a personal level, but in the workplace, when you have an older Black woman who is not lifting you up, who is, I think they see other people coming in as somebody who's going to take my spot. I think they still have this belief that there's only enough room for so many. And so when this older Black woman feels like, oh, I've worked this hard and I've sacrificed this much to have this position, I'll be damned if I let somebody else replace me, kind of, as opposed to having the attitude of there should be more of us. So since I'm here, I'm going to bring in as many as I can. I don't see that. And it's crazy. So I'm wondering, is it a generational thing? Is it all of the above? Because when you think about it, Nicki Minaj is literally separating herself from other women.
Hmm.
Other female rappers have been able to come in. And I think when Nicki Minaj came in and got the success she got, which I think she's gotten the most success, more success than any female rapper who's come before her, right?
Hmm.
Um, and so that was monumental just to witness a female rapper go as far as Nicki Minaj has gone.
Hmm.
Once women started to come up behind Nicki didn't take the opportunity to bring them up or to celebrate them. And like you said, the ones that she did embrace, it was only under the condition that they bow down to her and like kiss the ground that she walks on. And the minute they celebrate them, their own selves, or even highlight somebody else, she like, makes them walk the plank. I wonder, I mean, I think her, because she is, I don't know if she's considered Gen X or an older millennial, because she's like,
I feel like she's on that cusp. Like her, she was definitely born in the 80s.
I think
And
anybody before 82 is considered a Gen X. At
yeah,
82 and younger is millennial.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I
But
think the generational difference, like obviously, yes, it is internalized misogyny. I think a part of what has allowed millennials to really shift how we see each other
mhm.
is that we have more access to information, or we
Yeah.
had more access to information in our coming of age years than they.
Yeah.
So as much as I was definitely spouting that like internalized misogyny in high school, when I went to college, and remember this is when social media was a thing. This is
Mhm.
like my college years when I was really becoming an adult
Mhm.
is when we had like Twitter and all this stuff. So
Right. And you had
this
access to more. Yeah, yeah,
access
yeah.
to more information. So new age feminism, like we had access to these conversations and we were able to unlearn these things in a
Mm.
different way than I
Yeah.
think older millennials did. And if you notice, like I've always been kind of obsessed with like the digital age on social media and a lot of stuff. A lot of the women who are still spouting misogyny use social media in a certain way, or they use certain apps in a different way than younger people
Okay.
do, right? And it's not to say, oh, your app preference going to tell whether you misogynistic or not. It's just it's all about access to information and like what you
Right.
have chosen to take part in and unlearn. So the generational difference that I really see is they have an assumption about younger women based off of again how they were raised, and they never unlearned it. They
Mhm.
never
Yeah, they just
like
took
it never
what
clicked.
Yeah, they took what they were taught, ran with it, and yeah, they never took the time to unlearn it. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah. So and again, we use Nikki as an example because she's really like sort of at the forefront as far as just a good example of somebody who, no matter what, is not going to show solidarity with other women. It's always going to
Hmm.
be about her, and it's
Yeah.
always going to be about her desirability.
Hmm.
So yeah, there might be those people in your life right now, and I implore you, like, if there are women in your life who it is clear they are not girls, then you do not need to be centering those people and like having them in close proximity to you. Because if the
Facts.
situation, God forbid, ever comes to be that you're in harm's way, they will not prioritize you over their own self-interest. Like,
Yeah.
that's not going to happen.
Unfortunately, they're not going to.
Yeah.
They're genuinely not going to.
Yeah.
And it's uncomfortable. And you know, the beauty of, and you said the right thing, because our generation, even if it's later in life, I feel like people of our generation still have a little bit more of an open mind than those before, right? Like they recognize there's more to learn or other approaches to think. Because I remember having a conversation with my best friend one time, and she recognizes that she's not always been a girl's girl. She also has had bad experiences with women who aren't girls. So for her, it was more so like a protective thing, right? Like I've been scorned by so many women in these ways, so now I don't trust women. And she always says, like, our friendship is what made her realize that not all women will treat her that way. Like, she just was friends with the wrong women at certain times. But she's still unlearning certain things. But I remember one time we were talking about, I wish I could remember what, but she was talking about the fact, she said, I really like D that when we going out or we're going to be like together, I like that I never feel like I have to like dress down or do less to not upstage you. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, that's a thing. I
Mm-hmm.
was so confused by that.
Yeah.
But she was like, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
thing. So I said, I've never felt that way. Like, I've never been concerned about that. Like, if I'm going out with people, I never think, like, oh, let me dim myself down or let me, and I never hope that people don't upstage me either. Like, I've never considered that. And
Mm-hmm.
she said, well, she said, so I'm trying to, okay. So she says, so what would you do? She said, like, let's say we're going out, we're getting ready, and we decide to get ready at like your place. And because she was giving me an example of trying to make it make sense for me.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, but like, let's say I was to come to your house to get ready, and the outfit you had planned is like this really stellar, decked out, like drip, the language that the people be using. She said, your outfit is sickening, and then mine is very like basic. Wouldn't you want to change your outfit to? I said, no, I would just let you go in my closet and let you
Yeah.
improve.
If you felt in that moment like you needed to change your outfit because you felt, okay, I'm not
Yeah,
like, this isn't
I'm
the
not.
attire I was going for,
Yeah,
whatever, then cool. But if you made it a problem, like a me problem,
yeah, that's the thing that's weird. So I said, well, for one, I said two things. If we're going out and I notice, because if it's very clear that one person's outfit is more flashy than the other, right? I said, my first thought would just be, okay, let's dress up the next person.
mm-hmm,
Not let's dress down the one who's flashier.
mm-hmm.
Let's up, so I said, so if I was the one who's more dressed, I would be like, girl, let's get you something else. Let's add this,
And
and
also,
vice
it's
versa.
usually communicated. Like me and my friends don't have those problems because typically I'd be like, okay, how we dressing? We going
And
cute?
this
We
this
going
is new to
comfortable?
me. Yeah.
Like,
So when I said that, she said, "Shit, I really never thought of that."
mm-hmm,
And then she kind of started questioning herself. I said, "Don't question yourself." I said, "For one, I have a twin sister and I also have a big sister. I
mm-hmm,
was raised in a family where it's mostly women. That's
mm-hmm,
what the women in my family do. It's, oh girl, let's get you a little bit more of this. Let's the women in and my family is very Venusian, right? We be
mm-hmm.
dressing up. The women and the men. Let's be clear. The women and the men in my family, we be dressing down. So I told her, like, that's just my nature. Like and even if I'm the one who comes and I feel like, damn, I should have poured more, I'm gonna be like, girl, you got something else I could throw on? I'm not gonna ask you to dim your light. I'm gonna be like, hey, do you have some jewelry I could borrow? Do you
You
have a
want to know
star?
something so funny though? And I can't even remember who it was that said it. Somebody said to me prior to my wedding, I was like, yeah, Diamond coming. And I so excited. And they were like, Diamond coming? I was like, yeah. They were like, I would not want that bitch in my wedding pictures. they was like, she gonna look fucking sick, man. I'm like, she is. That's exactly why I want her standing right next to me. Like, I gonna just be like, I'm the bride, but look at this bitch. Like,
Look at my bitch.
and I think they expected me to like engage in that conversation. And I was like, you really think that me having Diamond, or like, I think about the fact that Diamond, I think about it in a way of like,
I get to stand
I
next to her.
celebrate it. Like I get
Yeah.
to be friends with this fine ass woman.
Yeah.
Whenever I go somewhere with Daima and people are just like enamored with her, or even
Yeah.
with you, because when we was in New York, same thing. Like I could see people like looking at you like, wow, this woman is gorgeous. I'd just be like, yeah, that's my friend, bitch. That's my sister. Like, and same thing with my sister. So I don't understand that concept of like, I'm around this person, they're more attractive than me or they're dressed better than me. That's somehow going to dim my light. Well, then fix your fucking outfit. I don't know what else to tell you. Like,
I know what you mean. And you know what? I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that I've never had friends who have felt the need to not want me around because they feel like I'm going to get more. And if they did a good job of covering it up. You know what I mean? Because even like when I think about the people who I'm closest to and I consider my besties and shit, it's all people who embrace each other. It's you. It's like Brittany. First of all, what I love is Brittany was very clear with everybody. Like, baby, if you coming to my wedding, bitch, you better be the fuck dressed.
yeah.
Brittany was not playing with us. She expected the real razzle dazzle. And baby, we did it, honey.
Listen, I am torn for my next wedding, and I'm not
Oh,
planning
next
on having
wedding.
a second husband. My
Oh, like when
rewedding.
you renew your vows.
Yeah, because
Okay.
remember I get married during the
Oh, yeah,
pandemic.
that's true.
When we renew our vows, I am debating whether I want an all black party or whether I want the theme to be upstage the bride. Because I love a good challenge. And if
Oh
you
my
bitches don't look
God.
better than me, like
But you
I
know the thing,
love
hey
that.
Isa, I think it's gonna be very hard to upstage you because you're very gorgeous. Like, and I think like your style, and here's the thing, I'm gonna just let y'all know, right? I have pretty privilege on my side because I'm not a fashion girl. Y'all, thank God I pretty. When I tell Ayo, right? I so glad I look good because I am so fucking, and I will not call myself basic, but I have
I
a
don't think you're basic
very,
at all.
and that's why I'm trying not to use the word basic, but
I think you
my
like simple, like you like
I'm a very
clean,
classic,
simple. Yeah.
clean, timeless kind of girl. I go for minimal, like I don't do a lot with my fashions. If y'all
Mhm.
ever see me in anything flashy, diamond point on me because I didn't do enough. I promise you. If y'all see me in a piece of jewelry that's like, wow, I promise you, diamond said, bitch, put this on because you look dumb. Like
Yeah.
I don't listen, when I tell you I will really just leave the house in like a tank top and shorts and flip flops. I really think I look.
And that's fine. I don't think anything is wrong with that. Like, I
I'm not a
think
fashion
everybody has their
girl.
personal style and everybody has what's comfortable to them. And I really think the moral of the story is you have to be secure in yourself
Yes.
to where when you come around other women, you ain't policing them to make yourself feel better
Yeah.
about it. Like,
Can we?
I had that friend who we would go out and they would be like, okay, what are we wearing? I'll be like, oh, well, I just wearing something like cute, comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But cute, comfortable for me, like you said, you know me. I'm going to dress that shit up because
Yeah,
that's
you
just who I
are.
am. I'm
Yeah,
going
and
to
you're
wear
very
bright
fashion.
colors. Like,
Yes, and you do, girl. You're really good at that. You know what? I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to bring up two things. One, you remember that girl who just recently went viral for, I think she was at a gym and she
mhm.
posted a video of a girl on a treadmill talking about, oh, the BBLs are going too far. And she
Yeah, she
kept
not a girl's
hammering
girl.
down on it. And it's just like, okay, for one, because I thought of it because you said something about policing other women. And it's like, what's it to you if
Mhm.
another woman has a BBL? Is it affecting you in any way?
Yeah.
You know how it's affecting you because the men that you want are looking at her
And
BBL.
again,
That's how
that's
it's affecting
it's
you.
always
Because
going to
again,
come
you're
back
a
to
pick
that.
me.
I want to be the most desirable person in
Yes.
the room so
Be-
that they pay attention to me.
yes, because how you vex that is what. So what if the baby, if you want to shoot up your ass with some fucking fix a flat and risk death, do you, as long as, listen, do what you got to do because what you eat don't make me shit. Why are
Mhm.
y'all so offended by women getting BBLs? I don't get, and because the
That's
real
why.
tea, and I don't remember who I was talking to about this, but I said the real tea is the girlies who are truly mad at the BBL girlies. It's because they themselves can't afford a BBL, right? They're mad that they don't have the body that those women were able to pay for. So they would rather just be mad at them, right?
Mhm.
And criticize them. Girl, get your money up. Get
Yeah.
your fucking money up. You're mad that you don't naturally have that body, and then you're also mad that you can't afford to go get that body.
And you're not asking yourselves enough. Why did I say that? Why am I thinking this? Like,
Yeah.
what is the thought process behind this? Is and
Yes.
y'all want to blame the other women, but really and truly, if you really
It's
dig deep,
you.
it's you. Like, it's
It's
some sort of
you.
insecurity that you have. It's, why am I insulting my friend and embarrassing them while we are around this guy? Is it because I actually like this guy and I want to be the center of attention, or is it
Yeah.
because I actually feel like dissing my friend right now? Like,
Yeah.
y'all
But
don't
the
have
reality is
self-awareness.
those people don't even see themselves as insulting their friend. That's the
No.
thing. There's a cognitive dissonance there.
Yeah, and
That's
trust me, I've been in those friendships.
yeah.
Like, I've been in those friendships where all of a sudden I is the butt at a joke every time we are around other men. All of a sudden, I something wrong with my outfit when we going out.
That's crazy to me. Is those motherfucking pick me's.
Like, and listen, this episode was super important because I think at times we see pick me's, sometimes even at the pick me's to be messaging good up, and I don't want us to like change the way that we do things sometimes
It's never gonna happen.
because you so desperately want to like center like men or the male gaze or the male perspective. And first things first, I can just say, Good Up is not a podcast for women, and I want Aya to stop saying that. Just because Good Up is
Oh
hosted
wait,
by women,
people think it's for women?
I've seen somebody say that recently on social media, and it was said with love, but it kind of ticked me off because I'm like, we do too much work to talk about really important conversations.
Yeah.
For y'all to say good up is for the girl them. One, we have male listeners, we have male
Okay.
patrons, we've had men
Okay.
on this podcast. And from the female perspective is not necessarily just for women. It's just
Absolutely.
from a woman's perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ludens came on here a couple of weeks ago and told Ayo that sometimes you need to be listening to women more and you refuse to. So that's just my rant for the week. Good Up is not just for women. Good Up just happens to be hosted by women.
Yeah.
The next thing that I am
It's
going
for
to say,
everybody. Long story short, it's for everybody.
yeah, the next thing that I am going to say is even with that, we are never going to center misogyny. We're never going to prop up misogyny. I'm
Facts.
never going to have a man on this show just to argue it.
That's crazy to me.
It's
First of
not
all,
going to
ew.
happen. And y'all have asked for it. I've had people say you need to bring people on this show who disagree with you more often. Yes, I want more people on this show as guests who have different perspectives than I do. But in terms of disagreeing, in terms of we are here arguing for women's rights to like be alive,
That's not
no,
what we're here for. You could
not
go
doing it.
listen to those random
Right. Go listen to our podcast for women who aren't
go
girls, girl.
listen to go listen to those girls who insist on going to those male podcasts who are trying to be picked. Like go listen to
Yeah.
those, right? Where men are blatantly disrespecting women on camera and threatening to
Mm-hmm.
fight them. Go listen to that shit. That's not what
Ain't
we're
gonna
here
happen on
for.
Good Up is all right, so we've said a lot. We've said a lot. And I'm sure there are some people questioning themselves and being like, am I a girl's girl? And maybe this episode will help you to figure that shit out.
Yeah.
Or a therapist. Who knows?
We say get in touch with a therapist.
Yeah, go call her. Like Crystal said, call the lady.
Call her.
Call the
She's
lady.
waiting.
Go
She's
sit on
probably
her
not
couch.
waiting, but she's gonna be happy to hear from you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we are so happy to be back. Y'all know where to find us. We're going to be right back here next week on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you want to see the full visuals for all of our episodes this season, if you want to get access to bonus content, you want to hear the news before the news come out, join our Patreon over at patreon.com/goodupodcast. We have a private Facebook group for all of our patrons. We have a private Instagram DM. Y'all will be added to our close friends on Instagram as well. So while we were recording today, I literally was posting on the close friends being like, bitch, we coming back. So
Any day now.
be in the know just to be in the know.
Yeah.
Again, patreon.com.
Be a girl's girl.
Be a girl's girl and become a patron.
And the patron, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but the patrons, there's not like a required amount, right? It's just like a minimum of like $1, right?
Pay what you can.
It's okay now. If that's not being a girl's girl, we're not even a girl's girl. We're the people's people.
Yeah,
right?
We are an equitable podcast. We believe in equity here and justice.
And you get the same level of content regardless of what you pay. So baby, pay the dollar. Pay the dollar. Pay the
Pay the
dollar.
dollar.
Pay the
Shout
dollar.
out to all of our sponsors once again. We look forward to seeing you guys next week. And yeah, don't forget to DM us your the
The hill you
hills
want to
that you
die
want to
on.
die on. So we can read that in next week's episode. With that being said, I know I can't wait for this, teacher. Tell the people bye.
Okay. Bye.
The Good Up Podcast is sponsored by the Virgin Islands Lottery. This podcast is Virgin Islands hosted and produced by Deidre Ritter and Heiza Quinones Ivory. Follow us on all social media platforms at Good Up Pod. Join the VIP section over at patreon.com/gooduppodcast and get access to exclusive bonus content, or visit our website and read more about our episodes at goodupvi.com. This season of the Good Up Podcast is proud to be sponsored by Empath Psychological Services, The Blend Collective, and Greater Changes.